Hello everyone, it's Jean from the Inky Owl Studio. I have a little quick video today that I'm just going to demonstrate a little technique. It's not a new technique, it's been around for a long time, but you may not be that familiar with it, or you just need to be reminded that this is a technique that we can use. I'm going to be making a faux jewelry cameo piece, and it's going to be put on the front of my Jane Austen journal, which I'm down at the point of putting the cover together, so I'm going to make this part of the cover. And the great thing is it's a free download. I'll put a link down below where I got this free printout, but you could use any printout of a piece of jewelry or whatever you like. You'll be needing glossy accents. It's fantastic. I love Ranger's glossy accents. I used another crystal product that's supposed to work the same, and it just really doesn't. So I really love that. And I'm using a little bit of antique gold metallic paint. It's just folk art. Got it at Walmart. And if you have like a gilder's wax or something of that nature, that would be really ideal, but I don't, so I just picked this up and it seemed to work just fine. So I printed this out, and I print this out on wallet size in my printer, to got down, because when you download it, it's a full sheet, and so you'll probably want to reduce it, to some smaller size. So that's what I did here. And I'm going to cut it out. Now, when I cut it out, of course, you see all the shadows if you don't want any of that there. But I'm also going to cut it in further. I'm going to cut it right here along the braiding of this piece. So you can see there's braiding here. I'm going to cut away the other part of it. It just, the little dots and humps, and it's just because the piece itself is slightly askew because it's a pin, so it kind of sits a little to one side, so there's a little variance in how well it shows up. So that's what I'm doing, and not that you need to do it that way. You can do it any way you want to. So I'll just start cutting it here, and because of the lighting, you have to kind of, when I cut this out, I kind of like eye it up that I want about this much off because of the angle. Sometimes that braiding gets real thin. And you'll experiment. You'll get it the way that you like it. Now, if I had a die cut that fit this perfectly, well, that would be the cat's meow, wouldn't it? So here is roughly my little piece cut out. I'm going to look at, I put it on scrap paper, so something else is different. And so I print this out on presentation paper, 47 pound. So you may, you don't have to use that because we're going to back it up with something stronger. But that's what I used here. And so once I've done that, I'm getting a piece of chipboard, although it's super thin. I don't know if you'd call it chipboard, piece of cardboard. It comes in packaging, a paper, like the back of a paper pad would probably be about the thickness of that. And I'm going to glue this onto that because we want a nice stiff background to kind of give it that jewelry, that faux jewelry feeling. And I'm just going to glue it together. Alrighty. And then, of course, you're going to want to cut that out again. And just go around the side. Let me just get that out there. And all right, so there she is. She's cut out. Now I'm going to go over it with a little bit of this paint. This is metallic finish acrylic paint is what this is. But like I say, the ideal would be like a gilder's wax or something like that. But, you know, you make do with what you got. I'm just going to wrap a little piece of paper towel around my finger. You could use like a dried up baby wipe or something like that if you want to. I'm carefully going to go around the edge. Now what I want to do is just paint over where that metal braiding is and go around there and just carefully. Now I suppose you could use a brush, but I just felt this was easier for me to do it this way. And we're not looking to cover it opaquely all the way. We're looking to just put a thin layer of it around there, just to give it a little bit of dimension, a little sparkle. Still kind of seeing the braiding of the digital print through that. So yeah, hopefully you can see this. And here, maybe I'll just do it like this. And we'll just go around it. Now I also want to be doing it in the thickness part of it so that that kind of blends in together. And putting on this paint also helps to hide imperfections of, you know, cutting this out in an oval, because it's hard to get like an absolute perfect oval when you cut it by hand. So this kind of helps hide that a little bit, the imperfections, or it takes the eye away from it. Okay. Now when I get this done, I'm going to set this down and I'm going to let it dry for like 10-15 minutes, just enough to have it be dry by touch. Okay, so I will set this down and I will be right back. Alrighty, I'm going to now apply the glossy accents, and I've gotten in here close. Don't know if being close is going to be helpful or not. And I would normally use my fingers, but I'm going to use this end of this stylus here just to hold it down and try to keep my fingers away from it. So what I do is I put a little bead that's going to be right here along the edge, you know, like I'm putting up a border of where I want my dimension to be. So I'm not covering up the metal part. I am just sort of going right to the edge there. All right, kind of giving myself a border. And then I'm just going to have a continual squeeze on it. And I'm going to start working around and filling in the inside of it here. All right, just like so. Now it's really easiest to work with glossy accents if you have like a little well where it can go to the edge and not go over, but we have a flat surface, so by going around the edge like that, I'm kind of creating a place for the glossy accents to stop spreading, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So working this way is a little more difficult because I'm not hovering over it like I normally would. I'm kind of at a distance here. But I'm just lightly filling in with it. And looking for any kind of gaps or divots. So air bubbles are sort of like the nemesis of applying any of this kind of stuff. But I have to admit, Glossy Accents is pretty forgiving. Pretty forgiving. And it should begin to just sort of like spread out on its own. Now I'm going to look down below another video in which I use Glossy Accents to show you probably the a lot easier way to use it, and you'll see what I mean by filling up a little well with it. But anyways, it does work on the flat surface pretty well. So anyhow, that's where we are at, and it will, now you don't want to touch it, you don't want to move it, you don't want to do anything to, well, you can move this, but you don't want to pick it up or anything like that for a good 12 hours. So I let it set overnight so that it dries hard. And so, but you don't want to be, you know, go up ever so often, touch it, see if it's dry. Don't do that. Just be patient and just let it dry. So we'll come back with the finished product. Alrighty, here is the finished product. And not sure you can, I hope you can pick this up on the camera, but there's a lot of dimension to it. The surface is, you know, very hard. It's a very stiff piece of, there we go. That looks pretty good. So you got a little bit of the gilding around the edge to make it a little shiny, and then the Glossy Accents just makes that image look like it's 3D, like it's actually carved into something like a Cameo is supposed to look like. So that turned out really cute. I really like this. And so that's an idea for you to use. You can take anything. Doesn't have to be a piece of jewelry, but a photograph of jewelry is kind of fun to work with, kind of make it look real. And hopefully this will give you some ideas of what to do. Also, I will be finishing up the cover and be doing a flip through probably in a couple days for the Jane Austen journal. So please subscribe so that you can see how that turns out. Thanks so much for viewing, and you have a great crafty day. Bye.